Well, Haley, you were just talking about that local state of emergency and why people should not be coming through this area. This is exactly why. Those storms came through here a little while ago, and we have several people stuck in their cars, trapped between power lines. That police chase came to a fiery and deadly end here at this intersection a little bit ago. You can see where that car came right into standstill traffic here at this light. Just to give you an idea of how bad this wreck was, this collision was earlier tonight, right there is half of a wheelchair that person was on. About 50 feet in front of it is where the other half landed after the car struck it. For now, one lane is back open here on Highway 72, but officials say there's no timetable for when things will be back to normal. About an inch of rain in only 20 minutes here in Brodhead brought down trees like this one. This is the biggest one we've found so far. Those two cats were stuck in there, and you're seeing the reunion live right now. That was their biggest worry. It was the first thing the homeowner said to us. If you do decide to go hiking in the wet conditions, rescue squads say it's important to always be prepared. They suggest you always bring a whistle or a flashlight in case anything were to happen.
God, it looks like 4 fell down. It's crazy.
Valerie Nevitt couldn't believe her eyes Wednesday afternoon.
Wow.
Each picture she took validated the sounds she heard just minutes earlier.
Splitting wood. You can hear the wood splitting and cracking.
Nevitt says she was inside her home when the second half of a rick house at Barton 1792 distillery collapsed. Now a few hundred yards away from her home lie 18,000 barrels of bourbon she can see and smell.
It's almost like you uncorked a bottle of it and you got your nose right underneath the bottle of bourbon.
Nelson County emergency managers say they don't know why the first half collapsed a week and a half ago or why the rest gave way today. No one was hurt, but crews are keeping a close eye on the environment around the warehouse.
Of course, there was a little bit of runoff last time it got into nearby waterways. Of course, that was an issue, and we'll monitor that, make sure that doesn't happen again. I'm sure there'll be some runoff.
Last week, the Kentucky Energy and Environment Cabinet gave the distillery's owner a state violation notice for pollution. They say roughly 1,000 fish died after alcohol from the first collapse spilled into 2 bodies of water.
They did, I believe, put some berms in place after the last one to try to contain any spills that may happen, so hopefully that'll take care of some of that for us as well.
Nevitt says she's also concerned about other warehouses standing even closer to her neighborhood.
We've got one really close to our house, which some of the siding's starting to come off now, and you worry, God, please don't let that one go next, you know.
Barton 1792 says experts recently inspected the remaining warehouses and deemed them safe. They'll build a new building to house the barrels salvaged from today's collapse. Covering the news in Nelson County, Conor McCue, LEX 18 News. It's the simple things Donnie Parrott finds pleasure in these days. From his wife's purple lilies to the hummingbirds feeding on them, he takes no detail for granted.
They'll just, kind of dart, in and out, eating their food.
For the first time in 50 years, Parrott is seeing it all.
I've never been able to see things like that before.
Though he's legally blind, these high-tech glasses are giving him a new look at life.
I find myself getting up every morning now that I have these and thinking, what can I go see today that I've never seen before?
Parrott got the glasses last week from a Canadian company called eSight. The camera on the front of them captures video and plays them in a way he can see inside.
There is the I Heart UK.
In the last week, he's had many firsts, like watching TV or seeing his wife Lisa for the first time.
We're getting ready to celebrate our 35th wedding anniversary. And she's more beautiful than I thought she was.
Tonight, another special moment.
Wait a minute, let me get you here, Brady.
Parrott finally saw the faces of his 3 young grandchildren.
I don't have words to tell what it was like.
It's been awesome. We love to do a video and put it on Facebook every day of him seeing something new, just what he's seeing, because we want to share it with everybody.
Lisa says everybody watching is sharing too. Within a few days of videos, their donations covered the cost of the nearly $10,000 glasses.
Anytime somebody said anything to me Tuesday, I would just cry, thinking of, how wonderful people have been to me.
For Donnie, things that were once impossible are now quite the opposite.
Trust me, the last part of Donnie Parrott's life is going to be much more exciting than the first part.
There's not one sight he won't appreciate along the way. Covering the news in Jackson County, Conor McCue, LEX 18 News.
The evening commute interrupted by a message
Fund our schools!
for anyone who would listen.
These hawks are going to vote you out!
Fayette County teachers know what they want and when they want it.
Our motivation is about this weekend, about Friday, about can we get as much as we can for our kids.
My students have seen education cuts year after year after year.
In 2 days, lawmakers can override the governor's veto on a bill that secures school funding or wait for a special session to try again. An easy choice if you ask Jennifer Latham.
We are not asking for a raise. We are not even talking about pensions at this point. We are looking at funding for schools.
From Fayette to Nicholas County, teachers chanted and marched.
This is phenomenal. You can see the support and love right here.
Many will be off Friday to do this all over again at the state capitol.
We're going to watch, and we're not going to be happy with some of the decisions they make, and we will remember in November if we need to.
Fund our schools!
Teachers say no matter the outcome, their work won't stop Friday.
It's about kids!
I'm here fighting for something that we can't see and touch.
It's about kids!
But is going to hurt us as a community so much more.
This is just the beginning. Covering the news in Lexington and Carlisle, Conor McCue, LEX 18 News. At 2,700 feet atop Pine Mountain, the rugged terrain and breathtaking views roll on as far as the eye can see. Amongst it all, longtime communities of Kentuckians are easy to spot. But in these hills, another, less visible community is thriving.
Our cliff's just down the hill a little ways here.
Every day, biologists with Kentucky Fish and Wildlife work to track the growing black bear population. The key is finding newborn cubs every February.
We're about 100 yards.
For Tristan Curry and his colleagues, this search for cubs is the first of the year.
Most places we don't have to go down any cliff lines or anything. We have a little better access, but it can always be worse.
A cold, slippery hike brings the group to the first checkpoint.
You're 30 yards uphill from her, roughly.
And the trickiest part of it all.
They can be easily aroused, per se, some of them, and then some of them do sleep pretty heavy, and they're not as easily woken, but it can be as little as a twig snap that can alert them.
A steep trek away is the first possible den of the season.
Channel 1.
While the group stays behind, Curry and one other biologist will trek down slowly. They hope to find cubs, but immobilize the mother first.
That's your dart pistol that we utilize in the den. It's a pneumatic pump. And we also have a jab pole.
Like I say, it just veers to the left down here.
There's no timeline for this part. Safety is key for bear and biologist.
Ready?
Whoa!
After about an hour of slowly approaching the den, the mother ran off, leaving the cubs inside. The biologists found these 3 cubs only a few weeks old, and the mother at this point is up there waiting to come back, so the biologists have to work quickly.
Yeah, so what we do is we count them and then we sex them as well.
In this den, Curry finds 2 boy cubs and a girl.
The cubs are very vocal all through the early stage in the den like this.
He works to tag them, a process the cubs don't like, but will forget quickly.
It'll let us identify this guy later in life. If he ever shows up somewhere, it'll help us see how our population's doing.
After more den visits, wildlife officials can see valuable trends that affect everything from hunting season to human-bear interactions.
This is where we want the bears to stay. You know, this is their home. We share it with them. We just have to be responsible with what we do.
Minutes later, we leave the cubs back in the den so the mother, only 100 yards away, can come back. Curry will return later in the year to see their progress. Though an inconvenience, biologists believe den visits like these are invaluable for the bears and the people sharing a home with them. Covering the news in Letcher County, Conor McCue, LEX 18 News.